The bite on Mille Lacs Lake has been absolutely on fire so far this spring. So in this video, we're gonna hop in the boat with Brad Hawthorne. We're gonna catch some fish. We're gonna share some really good tips. And without further ado, let's just get right into the fish catching action. Out here fishing with Brad. Usually I'm the one holding the camera for him. But we have a, what do we got here?
That looks like a nice walleye, Nick.
Actually, I'm gonna see if you wanna net them?
Probably should.
There we go. Look at that. You've even got the cameraman net skills. All right. So here we go. Nice Walter. And then I'll show you what I had on here. So the cool thing about what's going on out here is we're on Mille Lacs. Brad's gonna be sharing some more tips because he's been out here every day. But these fish are up here in the shallows, and they're chewing just about everything. So I've got Ned rig on here with the Nedster, 1/8 ounce. But jig and minnow, we were catching them on leeches yesterday. But like I said before, I'll let Brad get into some of those details. All right, let's pass it off to Brad. He'll talk a little bit about how the bite has been this season.
So this year, what's different about this year is obviously we basically didn't have a winter. So when you're coming to Mille Lacs, we're like ahead of time by like 2.5, 3 weeks. You can see like the bugs are already hatching. We're already using plastics. The water's a little bit warmer. The fish are way fatter. They're not in that skinny post-spawn funk. This is
Dude, that's a really big one too. Don't let the cameraman scoop that one. You better handle it.
Yikes.
Whoa.
That thing's got a blowhole on the top of him, Nick. Oh, yes.
That's a good one, Brad.
This is so awesome.
Why is the average size so good? How did you do that?
Well, I think we just landed on bigger ones. I mean, this one's still, maybe, I think you still have me beat on overall size, but this is the caliber we're on right now. So we're speeding up. You notice these fish are a little bit chunky. The water's a little bit warmer. Again, Nick's throwing Nedster and plastic. I'm still on tungsten and shiner. And look at how clean these fish are. So what you'll notice is even though we're ahead of time, about 2.5, 3 weeks out here, the fishing is still really consistent, and we're not into that like post-spawn funk. That post-spawn funk is something we have to deal with. Usually like the week and a half after opener, the fish spawned like a month ago. We don't have to worry about that. So come on out here. Don't be afraid to start throwing plastics and eye candy right from the jump, but make sure you have those minnows too for when the fish slow down a little bit. Throw on those minnows, throw on those plastics, get out here in 8 to 15 feet of water, side scan them, and then start throwing at them, and you'll catch a ton of fish. And don't worry about moving that lure too finessey. You know, you can get a little bit more aggressive as the water warms up.
You know, the average size on Mille Lacs Lake right now is really impressive, but not only that, the guides out there and other anglers have been catching legitimate 50 to 100 fish days. Super crazy. The fish are congregated up shallow and they're hungry, so it's a pretty cool bite. And like I said before, the fish are pretty impressive, so let's check another one out right now. Here we go.
I think you got a chunky one, Nick.
I think we got an okay one here. We got a real fighter. We'll see if it's the right species.
That's the right species.
Ooh, that's a good fish.
Oh, that's a dirty one,
That's
Nick.
a nice one, Brad.
Oh, come here.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one to flip with one hand, isn't it?
It is. Nice fish, Nicholas.
Look at that guy right there. That is a beauty. God, they are built. You know, there's been some reports out here that maybe some of these fish were kind of skinny and walleye populations weren't as good. There's no harvest this spring, but the fishing, I would say, is very good. And the fish are pretty angry, and they're also pretty hungry, and they're also, try not to get bit here. There we go. That one wasn't going anywhere. They're pretty hungry, and man, they are not skinny. I'm gonna get him right back. All right, next up, I'm gonna hook up with another walleye and talk a little bit about how we are finding and catching these fish right now on Mille Lacs Lake. Honestly, this was almost back-to-back casts from that last fish. And yeah, they're really going, Brad.
I know they are.
You told me they were biting pretty good out here. You weren't lying.
We've been doing like 50 fish a day for the last 5-6 days.
Brad.
Tank.
Brad,
Okay.
this is another nice. Here, I can scoop him if you want.
I got. Oh, beefy.
That's another good one, man. It's actually pretty similar to that last one.
Oh yeah. Look
Oh
at
my
that.
gosh. Holy cow.
Nicholas.
Look at that one's got some weight to it. That's a beauty. Maybe just a half a step down from that last fish, but god darn it, they are in a good mood, man. How cool is that? Sweet. We'll get him back. Yeah, that's the bite has been good. I mean, Brad's like, you gotta get out here, man. I've been running around, I was fishing with the kids, doing a bunch of stuff on opener, and he's like, dude, the bite's been so good out here, you gotta get out here. And yeah, so basically all we've been doing is kind of running around, looking around on side imaging there, and we've been fishing in sand areas, rock areas, and basically just going until we're seeing fish, and then kind of fan casting the area. You can utilize forward-facing technology to make more precise casts, but it really hasn't been a huge factor for us today. Just getting to areas where they're at and casting and catching fish. So it's always a good deal when they're hungry and when they're big, and bonus points if they're eating plastics, if you ask me. So super fun day so far. Next up, Brad is gonna follow up with a little bit more information on how he's been targeting these springtime walleyes and having a lot of success doing it.
Well, Brad just. well, so Nick went like back to back, like 3 in a row, and
I'm running.
I'm shooting him, and my rod's walking down the side of the boat.
You might have us in a decent area here, Brad.
Well, that's another nice,
That's
not
a
as
solid
nice
fish.
as yours.
Yeah,
but-
that's a good solid fish.
So the 1-2 approach here, what we're doing is, like what Nick says, I'm identifying the areas with, these are cookie cutters. These are cookie cutter Mille Lacs fish right now. We're identifying the areas that have fish via side imaging, and then we're turning around and we're just fan casting. You don't need, forward-facing sonar has a time and a place. When there's fish all around you, you don't need to point at individual fish. Just cast into the school, work it back, and catch them. That's all we're doing. We're looking for large schools. And the 1-2 approach right now has been, we're using tungsten jigs, and the cool part is because of the warm water this year, we are able to transition into plastics a lot quicker. So for the last couple days, we're using like a Ned stir and a worm, and that's been working too. But this right here has been my staple. Short shank jig or long shank with a shiner or a leech. Now Nick, on the other hand, we had him tie on the Ned stir, the chartreuse head, and he's been just using a dipstick worm, and he's been plugging them. So we're kind of going 1 for 1, and it's just been a super fun day. So let's get out there. Now depth-wise, drilling down the depth, 8 to 16 feet, typical Mille Lacs depth. Get out here on the transitions or the sand. Water temps right around that 60 degrees. Get up here, guys. It's only gonna get better for the next couple of weeks. It's just super fun fishing, especially when you don't have to get too technical with things. You find the school, throw at them, and they bite.
Well, that's about all we got for you in this video. Special thanks to Brad for sharing a bunch of good info and sharing some good fish. And if you enjoyed this video and you learned something, make sure to hit that little red subscribe button down below, because we have a lot more awesome content coming in the future. And until then, we will see you in the next one.